Today I felt like sharing my ramblings on the last few weeks and days and the progression of all of the events that's happened from the last video that I spoke about, the breaking of the ring, which was based on the lesser key of Solomon, or the Lemegeton. And it got me thinking, over all of the time that there's such a strong drive to keep the awareness of the development of the human spirit in an infantile state. I'm just thinking out loud on this because there's so many things that happen around us that sometimes you can't explain this or you can't explain that. You can't really qualify it for what it is. And the reason I thought of doing it in this way in my ramblings is just to share my thoughts with you. I thought about the movie The Lord of the Rings, where Gandalf basically was thrown onto a tower by his friend, who was then turned against him and placed him on a black tower, which was, metaphorically speaking, a position of disempowerment, where someone is placed or ostracized in such a way that they don't have any more will of their own to defend themselves or protect themselves. Sometimes people do that in the communities, that they throw one another under the bus, so to speak. And I thought, the only reason he did that to Gandalf, and if you didn't watch Lord of the Rings, then I'm sorry, this probably won't make any sense to you. And you can just skip on to the next part then. However, the most interesting thing that I noticed was it was only because he challenged Saruman. He challenged him and asked him where his allegiance was. He challenged him in the arts, and in what way was he going to present himself to be to him. And basically there was a tussle and a fight and the rest but in the end he represented a polarized view. Saruman was dressed in white and Gandalf was dressed in grey. And it was from the white polarized viewpoint that he basically threw Gandalf onto the Black Tower. Is basically the ring is basically built rudimentary ring of the Lemegeton to hold the spirit in place, so that Gandalf wouldn't have a chance to find himself to leave there. However, the most interesting thing developed over time, and there's a reason why I'm bringing all this up, is I'm bringing it up to share with you an observation that over time he was able to get himself out of that predicament, that position, that tower moment, so to speak, and he was able to connect with basically everything that was around him. Whatever was around him, he was able to contact and use through his intuition and his psychic powers, and got himself taken off of the tower within time. Now, I'm talking about, and I'm not actually bringing up paganism here. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm just talking about the fact that he used all his vices, his abilities to contact whatever he could, his resources within his consciousness, within his awareness, within his abilities to contact whatever he could contact to get him out of that situation, which he did. And obviously the rest is Hollywood. The fact is, the same situation is happening as we speak right now, with currently the development of information and the development of spirituality, and there are those that are basically trying to throw each other under the bus because they don't want them to go forward, they don't want them to progress. They are merely allowing, in their own ways, certain information to go through. Now we kind of know that because this is what it's been all about. But I'm talking about the ones that are closer to you. I'm talking about the people that you think you trust and the friends that you thought you knew. I'm talking about people like that for the greater good, they will take down someone that they perceive to be an enemy or to destroy something. I mean, in the same way, that is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a Gandalf and Saruman moment playing itself out. The most interesting thing with regards to that is it was quite a vicious fight. And all of these people that are supposed to support one another do not support one another. It is very similar to holding each other back. I mean, it's like something that I just remembered now. If someone buys something really nice or for themselves, or they've done some sort of inner working for themselves, and it was really a good thing for themselves, it was based on self-empowerment, the others would basically tear him down or destroy his environment. They would destroy him because how dare he step up? How dare he help himself? How dare he? How dare you? How dare you rise up and empower yourself? Because surely, if you do that, it means then you are the enemy. It means you are standing against us. It means that you are essentially not meant to flourish. You're not meant to grow. You're not meant to excel. You're not meant to, use your intuition, use your courage, use your skills, be happy in your family, raise your children, plant your seeds, and survive. While obviously you're having to fend off, with the other hand, your friends. And in this way, you're looking at, this is why the spiritual development of the human psyche is still in its infantile state. You don't need a monster from the deep, or a Leviathan or a Cthulhu to make you feel that you are being hunted. You don't need to have the reasoning or the understanding that the world is in whatever way, shape, or form, and that it's a highly controlled state. We all know that. I mean, really, just because you survive and take a breath of air doesn't mean that you condone the chaos and the murder that's taking place just on the other side, in terms of the fence, the other area where you may not want to venture, whatever. It's beside the point. The fact is, people hold people down in some way by their own omission of fear, perhaps guilt, perhaps jealousy. Perhaps there are those that have decided that they would join in order to destroy anything that is life, that might grow. It reminds me of that of someone bringing proof of life of a seedling, and the seedling gets destroyed because, oh my gosh, it's supposed to be a barren place, that you can't bring any seedlings from there. Nothing's supposed to grow there. No. We will stand and fight. That's basically what's going on. And looking at this, knowing now that, and looking back in hindsight, it's very much based on, I suppose, the information that was mentioned in the Picatrix as well. And it's another book that I had found when I was busy investigating the Megaton. And in it was mentioning that the there needs to be a strong respect for spirit, because spirit is essentially something that is used in terms of magical rituals. However, it also speaks with a forked tongue. And I know that the book was written in such a way that you have to have a certain mindset to read it, to understand it. I was able to understand what they meant by it, because really it's basically what has been going on is you have to be shown in order for you to understand what the process is about and why certain things are the way they are. I mean, you can definitely go and join all kinds of forms of cults and, follow and feverishly download every video that person has made, because he's just selling you the next best angle, which is just merely a reflection of light, the mirror light. Just because you find yourself needing to plant food or work and earn a financial incentive in some shape or form to earn an income, it doesn't mean that you negate the fact that the realm is sabotaged. I mean, like I've said before, you don't want to damage the entire jail cell because you got inmates in there. You'd rather just wait for the right opportunity to slip out of the window. Why do you want to go to such an extent in your thoughts? It's basically what is driving you? What is taking you to that point? What is making you believe that you could actually, um, you know, do something to destroy the realm when you are yourself not even invested in yourself? You are invested in so many profits and so many lenses that color your view that you are unable to see what is in front of you. And in your own perspective, that is what is going on. That is why Saruman wanted to destroy Gandalf. Gandalf wanted to destroy the ring, and Saruman did not want him to do that because Saruman was Sauron's bitch, to put it like that. And there are a lot of those in this realm. I don't know if you've noticed that. Sometimes it's people that you think you could trust or you thought you knew. However, I'm not speaking from a scorned place or jadedness. I'm just bringing it up. It's my thoughts, my ramblings, and you may switch it off if you want. It's not my problem. I'm just merely sharing where I am in terms of this all. I'm looking back at the current events that are taking place in this realm. I'm looking back at all of the hype and the occult drives and the forms of wanting to take down people so that they may not expand information. They may not be able to express where they are. I'm talking about the way that the algorithms are made so that if you don't speak a certain way, or if you don't bring it across a certain way, then you don't ever get seen. And I think we're all aware of that. That's basically an issue. So there are also these situations with regards to the current drive to build another temple, because that's, of course, the second Gemini, Jesus, whatever. I'm being super vague here. I'm not really sharing too much on that information, but that is the essential drive. It is irrespective of who it is and in what way it is done, but that is what is the purpose. All of this anguish and drive and fear and calamity, within the psyche and the soul and the spirit, using spirit people, people who are in spirit form, living and non-living, I think. Now I can see it much better now. Although I didn't need to have the lemegeton to not notice it. I've always seen it. Spirit can be controlled, however, spirit can also not be possessed. It is just a law unto itself. So people tend to want to influence those that are non-living to in spirit form to go and torment other people. They even say it in the books. They say you can go and torment people, but be aware that the person that you go and torment with X, Y, and Z agency spirit will hurt you back. So that happens. Funny how that is. So those that then try to torment those that are suppressed, you're not looking at the Ministry of Magic, like I said. You don't even have to look that far. You just look at what is around you and who you communicate with. If you feel that sudden little weird stab in your head, or in your back, or in your body, or whatever, once you've done something or you said something, that's coming from people that you think you know. I'm not trying to alienate you from your friends or your people, your peers. I'm just telling you that people are vicious little beasties. People hurt one another in the most vicious way to prevent growth. So therefore, this child, which is the human race in itself, becomes this underdeveloped baby that still does not grow any further, that does not understand its own vices, does not use its own intuition. I'm not speaking for everyone. I'm just using this as an example, a metaphor, to make a point. And so then you find, obviously, whatever happens to that child, it becomes some sort of brat that's used to getting whatever it wants in a certain way, or not at all. Does not know that it can actually fully mature, have mature grown legs to walk from point A to point B. No, it'll just rather lie there in the chair and be in a space of woundedness and drag everyone else down with it. That's basically what's going on right now. I mean, the luminiferous ether that I spoke about in the previous video, that it was coming through and that I've mentioned on the community tabs. What it does is, like I said in the beginning, is it is only light. It does not mean it is happy light or bad light. It does not mean it is positive light or bad light. It does not mean it is white light or dark light. It's none of that. It is just light. Light in itself, which is infinite potential, that is like power that skims through the or perforated through the lens of the system overlay, which is made up of crystallinum. Because whatever you think, it crystallizes for you or materializes for you. That's the lens. That's the lens that's being used all the time. And of course, the lens was held strongly in place by the Lemegeton and other belief systems, such as also the Kabbalah. And if I had to really go into investigating all of these things, it would take a long time, because they took a long time to put it all together to build that thing. So why not just do it in a strategic way? I guess my point I want to make is lunar and solar celestial events were the triggers or the goalposts or the gateposts for, obviously, wish fulfillment, to bring some sort of aeon into birth. You have that narrative running. You have the end of the world narrative, which is always running. You have the luminiferous ether that's obviously highlighting everything. I wouldn't say that's a narrative exactly, because it is something that's actively happening, and whatever else is happening around it. It's like I'm telling you, the sun is shining and therefore it's narrative. It's not correct. Luminiferous ether is there now. Therefore, it highlights whatever is hidden inside of the garden, the parasite that was hiding inside of the tree trunk all along. And it actually is quite disturbing. However, I'm also saying you shouldn't be afraid. Because if you are making it right with yourself, with what is inside of you, if you give care and kindness to your family and your children and to yourself, if you nurture yourself, if you work on your intuition, only that, if you work on your intuition, that means your gut feel, or what you think you hear or sense when you go into a place. When, for example, you are in a place and you feel unsure, trust that little voice. Don't drown it out with lenses to make you feel better about yourself or not. You should trust yourself more. You should actually give yourself a bit more credit. You should work on that intuition skills. If you do not have that development happening, you are unable to see what is happening around you when it comes or when it presents itself in information. It is only for that reason. That is why I've always been wanting people to understand the information of the metaphysics, because it is about that specific science. It is about understanding the higher perspective of the spirit, the soul, and the mind and the body, and how it interacts with where it is. And if you don't understand that, that is the model for this realm. That is the only model that can verify and qualify certain information. And again, I'm not qualifying or making or rooting or selling metaphysics to you at all. I'm saying that was for me the most the most or the best way to understand the weird shit that's happening in this realm. And based on that, I was able to see, oh, okay, so this is why this and that is happening, because so and this and this and that. Trust your intuition. Just that. And you are already like 20-30% ahead of where you should have been. Because if you don't trust your intuition, you may then be able to have yourself be led around by those that proclaim themselves to be assistants to you. Because this is the war in where we are right now. And keep practicing that. Keep building onto that energy within yourself. Keep building onto that skill. Trust and trust and trust more and more and more of what is within you. When you have, obviously within reason, cleared yourself from all of the things that you are stumbling over every day, which requires you to do revocations to get it out of your system and your subconscious, because, I mean, after all, the subconscious is like a little nest that harbors all kinds of crap and makes you believe certain things in a certain way, or people tell you this and this and that, whatever. That's where that inner chatter takes place. You can't essentially drown out your spirit voice. The little voice that's little must become a little bit stronger than little. It needs to become something that is much more there. And the more you grow within yourself internally, the more you do good for yourself and for those that are your responsibility, and even strangers, if you are there to do that. The more you do good, the more you seed love, the more you seed consciousness, the more you seed awareness, the more you bring kindness and empowerment towards yourself. You don't have to go out and go and be a martyr or a saint or a this or a little Jesus that or whatever or Buddha, or you don't have to be any of that shit. Don't I'm not saying that in a derogatory manner. I'm saying you don't have to be anything. Just be yourself. When you are yourself, then take note of the dynamics around you. It will change. You will see it in a different way. However, that is basically all I want you to understand, what I want to share with you, what I'm wishing for you to take with you is to question things. I think there are those of you who understand that if you do not question anything and everything, then you may also not be able to understand what is being held in front of you, what could be hidden from you. I always say go to your intuition, go work there, strengthen that, and you won't have a problem, because what you will be able to question certain things and everything, and you'll be able to keep that which is sound to you. That is how it works. If you can't do that basic thing, then carry on listening to the lenses that are polluting the consciousness, polluting the minds of people and keeping them in a state of infancy. Because that is why the realm is shaped in the way that it is, the torus and all of that stuff. It's like it needs a walking ring to keep it in place, because it cannot help itself yet, because it doesn't let itself help itself. Because you're gonna tell me, but there are others that are stopping you from actually having that. Actually, no. These are just people. They're not even high magical whatever. People are holding people back. And this doesn't mean that I'm saying you should hate people or you should go and avoid people. Don't be stupid. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying understand that you become smarter, that you are able to move around those types that are trying to hold you back, that are trying to hold you down. Avoid some of them and nurture the caring energy within you. It is about empowering yourself. And also, let me say this, empowering yourself in terms of being alive and operating as a human within a realm dynamics which is set up to be rigged as it is, does not mean that you condone that the realm is messed up. It doesn't mean that at all. Being empowered does not mean that you are now suddenly going to, root for the world, or that you're going to become a pagan worshipper because you've received vegetables from your garden. Oh, now you must be a pagan, because that is the delusion that is playing out. This is what the luminiferous ether, which is based on energy, like I've explained in the Deep Stuff 2 video, the last Deep Stuff, right before the Lemegaton video, or the ring. If you don't understand what I'm saying, go there. You'll understand. This is why people are now being exposed. Things are being brought to light so that people are able to see what is real and what is not real. What is the grass greener on the other side of that fence, or is it not? Trust your intuition. Do good for your family. Plant your plants, live from your garden, and function. And keep strengthening your intuition. Keep strengthening your internal. Because once you do that, once you strengthen your intuition and your wisdom, wisdom comes. Wisdom comes, and guidance comes, and awareness comes, and happiness comes. Those things come to you once you start to work on that. That's as simple as that. You don't have to go jump through alpha, beta, theta, zeta waves and stuff to tune your brain because you're too lazy to do the thinking for yourself within yourself. It's not about that. Once you do that, you're able to become stronger in your consciousness, in your awareness, in your soul, in your spirit. And yes, the soul and the spirit are two different things. If you don't know that by now, being true to you in your fullness, in your family, and most certainly does not mean that you condone that the realm has false facades in it. Being true to you does not mean that you condone to chaos that wants to subject you to function for it. Like I've said from the beginning, if you work on the energy within yourself, you'll be able to understand things the way that they are. Does not mean that I'm saying micro macro, microcosm to the macrocosm. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying just go inside of your head, stay there, think about it, think about who you are, question yourself, listen to yourself. That's the thing that people don't do. They don't listen to themselves. They don't listen to their bodies. They don't listen to their psyche. They don't listen to their intuition. Then they let themselves be led by things around them. And then there are going to be people that are going to say, oh, but I can't hear my inner voice. Then I'm going to say, then go for a detox. Just clear your body so that you'll be able to hear your inner voice. Or use less substance in whatever shape or form. Don't overdo it. I'm wishing for you to find yourself, to stay in yourself, and to be able to understand who you are. Because once you start to do that, then you grow. Then you become a matured being. Then you realize things. Then your awareness is there. Your wisdom is there. It comes to you. And then you won't have your mind be interfered with by all kinds of falsities and information and things that can screw with your thoughts. And once you start to hear your inner voice, you'll be able to get yourself out, obviously out of this realm, in a simple way, simpler than you think. Really, the drama, it is unnecessary. It is unnecessary drama. I want to bid you a good day and a good evening and a good rest. And we will talk soon again.